Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Vlogmas episode right here on Your Auto Enthusiast. I am trying to finish up so I can get out of here and get to my destination for today. I actually didn't leave and go anywhere yesterday. I sat and did a little bit of research on what's happening with the part. So I do have just a little bit of an update on that. I'll show you that here in a moment. But I never talked about a couple of things that I had recently purchased that I was going to share. And I'm actually going to do a review on one of them because I'm actually using it right now. That's what you were hearing me talk on when I was at the tea shop the other day at ZT. And I realized now that it was close to sitting under my beard. So you was hearing the scratching as I was moving. But what I can say is this mic did a great job of canceling out noise and picking up my voice as it does now. But that area was super loud. There was a little drain in the middle of the roadway there where cars was going by, and it was like clap, 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 clap. That thing was loud. So I'm glad it minimized how loud that was when cars did go by. So right now I'm just finishing up some dishes. This is my Kasori air fryer, which is a gem. I absolutely love this thing, and the seasonings that are on the table right now, on the counter space right now, is what I use to season this chicken. So I've got to get all of that put up. These are the two mics I'm talking about. This is the one I'm using right now. Very good mic. It is the least expensive of the two, but other than its pros, there are some cons to this particular one, and that's just going to be personal preference. And there is one that I like about this already, having not used it, but we'll get into that. In the meantime, here are the two items that I got from ZT the other day. Let's get that open. Let's do that in one hand. Yes. All right, and this is a Japanese teapot. Yeah, that was the camera that moved, not the teapot. In this has a metal or steel. I don't remember what metal that is made of, but it's got a strainer, and of course the liquids or the water. In this particular case, the water will go here. The tea leaves will go in here, and this is the pot. So very nice looking teapot. Here are the teas that I got. So this one is a Shuzan. I am not going to try to pronounce that, but it is a oolong tea that I wanted to try based on what it provides. This one is the masala chai. That is the one you saw me tasting right at the beginning after walking into the tea shop. And matcha abundance. This is matcha green tea. Actually, there's two different ones. One is a more expensive one that the young lady expressed, and that one comes in a tin, and it is refrigerated. It was suggested to refrigerate after these are open, so they are going to go in the refrigerator. Now, speaking of a matcha tea, this is what I found at Walmart because of the switch. I'm trying to switch from drinking the coffee, even though I've made the switch from drinking large cups of coffee and going to espresso. There are the espresso cups there. That is this espresso brewer that I'm using. So there's a brewer here, and then there's a hot plate that I have under here, so that this itself doesn't have to sit on these irons and mess it up, because it's got a coating on there. Let's see, can that? Okay, it's just, yep, that came right up. Love it. And now my thumb is dark. This espresso brewer is basically a two-chamber, three-stage setup, if you will. There is the base, or the portion that will hold your water, and once you fill that up with water, you will drop in a filter. That's basically a filter. It has a spout on the bottom end that, as that's getting hot, it pushes. Oh, I may need to close this. There we go. It pushes the water up through here, and then that further gets filtered into the bottom of this piece here. And once, of course, that is screwed on, that's doing its thing, that brews right out of the top here. So it's a pretty cool apparatus, very inexpensive. This one is, I think I paid about $6, $7 for it. This, I want to say I spent maybe 10, $12 for it. Now, the brand on here is Bialetti, Bialetti. I may be pronouncing that wrong or right. But the brand that I was going to buy of that was this too. That one actually cost more, closer to about 35, $40. This is a 3-cup setup, and so was that one. I realized if I was going to get this brand, I was going to get the 6-cup setup. So it's going to sit a little taller, maybe about that tall in comparison to that. But I think now with with purchasing the tea, I'm not going to worry about that too much. Plus the other thing, now this is the coffee that I love drinking. Now I drink this too. I didn't too much care for just black. It seemed like it was more of a watered down, decaffeinated version, and I don't see that it's a decaffeinated coffee, but I've had other Black Rifle Company coffees, Black Rifle Coffee Company coffees. Okay, that's a tongue twister. I've had other flavors of Black Rifle coffee, and it was much better. So yeah, honestly, not really caring for this one. We'll snooze that. But back to this, and it's not, I don't believe it's necessarily the brand. I just think it's coffee, period, because coffee is really acidic. And in this particular case, I noticed yesterday morning when I brewed my espresso, I actually had leftover tea from the day at ZT. I sipped on that yesterday morning, and I went ahead and brewed the coffee, poured my cup, and when I sipped on it, man, my stomach instantly began to hurt. So I believe that's explaining some of what's happening with my body as of lately. I am feeling, like the bloated feeling in the stomach, or more gassy, and I am seeing kind of like that acne breakout again that I made mention of in a previous video. However, I've been drinking water. I know the water is hard here. That's going to play a part in it too. So I'm going to have to take away from that and no more espresso, and it's just this. The main thing to be aware of is freshness. That is the catch with teas, and the teas that you buy in tea bags. Oftentimes there's not enough tea, or there's a variation in the amount of tea that's in the bag, as well as how fresh is it exactly. Let's get this back in the refrigerator here in just a moment, but I wanted to show you this. This is pretty cool. I like that they lay out the different types of tea. I did not know that teas, the different types of tea, black tea, oolong, green, white, rubios, or rooibos, and herbal, they are all steeped at different times, and the temperatures are different. So as you can see, the black tea is 195 to 208 for 3 to 4 minutes. Oolong tea is 195 to 208 for 2 to 4 minutes. And then your herbal is 200 to 208, 5 to 8 minutes. So, but then it talks about the different things that you are drinking the tea for. Here was the catch. I was hearing people come into the shop, and they were regulars and would describe what was going on with them that day in order to get the right tea, almost like basically medicinal use. So I believe the young lady came in saying she was feeling, whatever she was feeling. I can't remember the exact symptoms that she shared, but she shared about 2 or 3 different symptoms. And if I could remember the young lady's name to help me, I want to say Dana. Is it on here? I can't remember. I feel like it was Dana. So I'm just going to say Dana for the sake of this video. But Dana, listened to her, explain her symptoms, and immediately recommended a couple of different teas and how she was going to steep it and if she was adding anything to it. I just was like, wow, I did not know it was that serious. Buying tea bags and buying tea, like loose leaf tea, is a whole different experience. And then going through the process of monitoring the temperature of water and all of that and how long it sits. Now to what is in here. I thought I was going to be able to one hand this. Come on, I got it. Yes, got it. Here we go. This is a matcha tea set. So we have, okay, I'm gonna have to go on and set this up with two hands. So what we have here is the bowl itself for the matcha tea, matcha powder, and this is a whisk that helps you basically whisk the liquid and the tea. And then this is actually considered the stand. Now, based on how that looks like it sits up like that. Just okay, cool. And nope, yep. So I guess it goes, yeah, it goes like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And let's not forget the spoon, because I actually did forget. So I believe this is what helps get the matcha out of the bag into the bowl. Whisk it, and good to go. Of course, once you've had it, you gotta add the water first, or the milk, or whatever is gonna go in there. Cool. I am waiting for my brewer to come in. I wonder, let's see if, oh yes. Oh man. Not even gonna lie, I was trying to time that right, because I think it said it was supposed to be here between 10 and 2. So perfect. And don't ask me why I'm trying to unbox stuff with one with one hand. So it looks like we've got the pot here. So let me just set this down. And as I was saying, bam, there's the top. Nice. Love it. As I was saying, when I showed you in the pamphlet there earlier, that each tea has its own temp. So here we go. We can set this, and then looks like we got a whole temp, and I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, because I have the teapot that I just showed you, the Japanese teapot a moment ago, right there up top, and even the matcha bowl set, I think this should be good. I saw this and I wanted this, but something else I have seen a couple of people that I follow on Instagram that just kills it with content is they use similar apparatuses like this. They use a pour over apparatus, and this is one of the ones that I wanted. This was actually packaged with this. So I think I paid close to 89 bucks. I'll put the link in the description. You can check it. You can see this by itself. They have a stainless steel. I think they have a matte black finish. This might be matte black, or is this jet black? I don't know what color this is. It didn't even matter. The one, whatever the one came with this one is that color, and I think they only offered it in this. All right, there it is there. You definitely want to handle this with care, because that is glass, that is granite, that is wood. So a little bit more give in the base there. But I think this is a pretty decent setup. I really, really like this. So between warming up the water here, putting the tea in here, and doing the thing when it's ready, oh, it's gonna be, the tea is going down pretty nicely. From the toy drive the other day, I picked up something. These two guys I already had. I just have not put them together. They came with me from Wisconsin. This right here, OMG, this is a Alpha Stelvio QV. You see the Clover Quadrifolio right there. Yes. That's from my buddy Swole 55. That is part of the trio of Bros in Cars. He got this for me, and he even got a C8 Corvette for show. Pretty cool. Thanks, bro, again for that. No, I have not taken it out the box. It will come out soon, as soon as I have a place for it, other than right there. Because of course, when that's closed, I get to look at it. Okay, now I gotta open it back up. But this is it. This is the one here that I got. It is a Bugatti Bolide, something. But it is it's a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. So I saw this and was like, I've got to have it. There's what it looks like in real life, per se. That's what it looks like for real. And this is what it's going to look like here put together as a Lego. So I got this. I'm just going to say that I had to get that for my son. I'm going to share something here in a little while pertaining to what's happened with me and my son and my relationship with my son. And yeah, I'll get into that shortly. There's something that came up really today that reminds me of this very situation, not the car itself, but it reminded me of the situation, which was the breakthrough on even why I like Legos. Such a crazy and amazing breakthrough at the same time. I will share that. Okay, so here we are. Let's talk about these two guys right here. This is the new bolt, as you can tell a little bit. That's the newer one without any grease on it. This is the old one. Now, if we look at the difference, now this is without accounting for the washer. Look at the length of the bolt there. And of course, with the washer, we're still longer. And I haven't done the full research on that, but what I have found is that I recalled the other bolt on the 5 Series was the same. I did note it in the comments on that particular video that it was the bottom bolt, not the top, unlike on the M3. So this is where we are with this so far. So there is the bolt. As you see, it has the eTorx head. This one has the regular, your normal socket, the hex socket. And yeah, this is where we sit. So without finding any technical support or technical bulletin just yet to say, yes, it was changed because of possibly these were backing out. That is what I am noticing. So I am deriving a certain conclusion that made them longer to support them staying in versus backing out. But again, I could be completely shooting in the dark and trying to come up with my own storyline here, but I'm not sure. But that's kind of where I'm leaning toward there being that reason for such a noticeable change in length. Well, guys, as you'll hear in a brief moment, I was supposed to go somewhere else, but it's such a beautiful evening. It is in the 70s. We are sitting at 76 right now. Of course, that'll drop off a little bit as it gets cooler with the sun going down, but I was like, what the heck, man? I'm already outside. I got my stuff with me. It's edit on the go. Got the iPad. I have my cigars with me, so Game plan is finish eating, edit this content, have a cigar while I'm doing that. It's a little windy right now, but that's the game plan with that. So I don't know if I was going to take this conversation anywhere else, but I think the conversation that comes right now is very important. So I said I would expound a little bit more on my son. So I'll let this clip do that for you. And I hope this helps. I hope this helps someone else out there that is experiencing this or has experienced this, and maybe they can share their story too with someone around them that they don't even know needs to hear it. So let's get right into it. So if you're seeing this now, I've already made my way to the cigar lounge, and I needed that. I needed to de-stress from um, the overwhelming emotions that I have had in the last few days, and just quite frankly, the last few years. But, you know, it's manageable, right? It's manageable. And what I'll say to start this is number one, I dedicate even talking about this to my son because he deserves to have his father in his life, and he will uh, be in my life. I will be in his life, and that's that's my word. That is my word. And it's also is to other men out there who have been, whether it's they feel they have been emasculated, they've been taken advantage of, and have also gone through this process of losing their child to someone who evidently is going through their own pain themselves, and or just has learned something from society or their parents or whatever the case is that I don't quite know just yet. And maybe I need to sit back and look through the history of our relationship and maybe, catch the signs, the flags that I missed, because I definitely missed some. I definitely missed plenty. So this is no attempt to make them look bad. This is no attempt to degrade them or degrade women or degrade men, anything like that. We all have our challenges. And the only way we get past whatever those challenges are is when we, again, are aware that we're not our best self and that we're going through this space in life. We desire to get beyond what that thing is and become our best self and be on the road, our journey to self-healing and self-love. And the clarity that comes with doing that. That is exactly what ends up happening. So that is what this message is for. And I just wanted to share this because, buying the Legos, I was talking with my therapist the other day. She called, asked me how things were going since our last conversation, the last visit, and all sorts of things. And, I had to think about some of the things that had happened. And I talked about the toy drive, and I talked about the upcoming episode or meeting with the co-host of Undo Life Rebranded, and what that episode meant, or what that episode will mean. And somehow I got on the toy drive, and I talked about going to the toy drive that Saturday, or that Sunday rather, and the fact that I had bought Legos and a Lego car, the Pagani, and the Mandalorian puzzle. So I talked about that. And I was sharing with her the breakthrough that occurred. And I said that, when my son was young, I bought him Legos. And he started putting Legos together. And I'm talking about the little towers and stuff like that. Not even cars. I bought him like towers and buildings and structures and stuff. But I think I did buy him a car this particular time. And I noticed he wasn't making a car. He literally was building a structure, a building, architecture. I said, wow. I said, that's awesome. I said, what made you build that? And he just looked at me and just said, I like it. I was like, wow, that is so awesome. A true artist. And coming from someone that has played sports, of course, the first thing I had given him was a baseball and a bat, and he could hit from both sides of the plate. He could switch hit just like me and hit with power. But I always said that did not have to be the way. It absolutely didn't have to be the way. Sports didn't have to be it. If he gravitated to that and it was soccer or baseball, basketball, whatever, I was fine. I was a little apprehensive about football, not gonna lie, and I'm talking about American football. But I always said he could do whatever it is that he wants to do. I will support it. And lo and behold, he's an artist. He's gifted. And my son he does have autism. He is on the spectrum. I'm still learning more about what that means and where he is. If he's super highly gifted, in my eyes, he definitely is. But I don't know what it means on the spectrum. And but he's able to do things he's 16 now, but he was able to do things when he was way younger, way younger. 3, 4, 5. He was doing stuff then that I just was like, OMG, this boy is off the charts. So, but I'm sharing with her that experience. The thing that happened was that I found out after some time. I found out from his mother that she had stopped him from playing with Legos, and I ended up asking her about the next time I bought him some Legos. How was it coming? And she told me she had been stopped letting him play with Legos. That wasn't who he was, or that wasn't helping him. And I was like, wow. I'm wondering, why did she stop doing that? And it really, really, really hurt me. But here was the thing. I was in such a place where I did not know how to show up for myself and stand up for myself in this relationship, that I realized I didn't show up for him. And there's a lot of things that happened in his life that I didn't have the capacity to show up for him. And that truly, truly hurt thinking about that. And I was just like, man, I don't know what he's doing right this very moment, because there's a whole other part to this conversation that I may or may not get into now, but I felt some kind of way. I really felt some kind of way that I never stood up for him. He loved doing that. So how did I not show up for him and stand up for him and say, no, let him do what he does, and explain that he's an artist, that he's building things. And I think the conversation that I had was probably so dysfunctional. I probably got upset and screamed, yelled, whatever it was. And I'm not really a person that screams or yells, but I don't know what I did that day. I didn't do enough to stand up for him. I didn't do enough to stand up for him. And as I get stronger, as I get through my journey, as I push through and become the better version of myself, I am finding that I am getting to a place where I can really embrace loving him and being a father for him, because I'm learning how to do it for myself. It would only be detrimental to my relationship with him if I jump into trying to have a relationship, being selfish, trying to have a relationship with him when I am not ready. I am not well. And what I'll say to you guys is, it is so, I'm going to use the word hyper masculine. I'm just going to say it's so masculine. It's so masculine of us men to challenge another man to be there for their child, and especially if it's a boy. And I get it. I get that. And there's so many different dynamics to relationships and how they work, and who is pulling the strings and who is controlling things, and who is the more submissive one, and who doesn't like confrontation. There's a lot of dynamic that goes into that. People, you have to know that. It's not, being a man doesn't work just one way. Being a woman doesn't work just one way. It does not. It does not. You have to open your mind to the reality that it doesn't just work the one way that you've ever seen it in your life. And I'll say this part too, real quickly. You know, when people, I remember I remember getting in trouble in the Navy and going to captain's mast. And I remember at this time I'm in Japan and I'm struggling with my relationship with my ex-wife, wife then, but ex-wife now, and my son who was 6, 7 months old. And I remember him telling one of a chief was telling me I needed to be a man, take control of my house. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What does that even look like? I'm trying to do that. What do you mean? And there's this perception that men are supposed to be men by controlling what's happening in their house and making people do what they say do. That ain't how that shit works. It's not how it works. Because let me explain. Because growing up in both of the households that I grew up in when I was in foster care and when I was adopted, having both parents, they communicated. I never saw them raise their voice at each other. I never saw that. So I never saw the dysfunction of the man got to be a man. They communicated when bills needed to be paid. They communicated, bills got paid. One paid these, the other paid the other. It just worked. It absolutely just worked. So they didn't. My fathers, they didn't have to step up and be a man and say how things are supposed to run in the house, and I make the most money, or I'm feeling some kind of way because she make more money than me. That didn't happen. So I didn't have whatever example this thing is that men say men supposed to be men and look and do a certain thing. I did not have that. So when I was having troubles in my own household, it's because the communication piece that I was used to seeing work wasn't working. So therefore, I didn't know what else to do. I had no other example. So I didn't have the example of a dad that came home yelling and beating folks and doing stuff. And then that turned out being me doing the same thing. Because if that's what you're seeing, then you're going to perpetuate the same thing. So because I was seeing communication and respect and love, that's what I was trying to give, but that wasn't being reciprocated the same exact way. So I hit a brick wall. I didn't know what the heck I was supposed to do. So when he said that again, that was a breakthrough I had recently as well. Probably in the same day I had the breakthrough about my son and the Legos. Coming back to the Legos, if you get what I'm saying there, if you get what I'm saying, it is based on life begins to reflect how you live your life is a reflection of how you've lived it, what you grew up around, what were the values, what were what was the paradigm, what were those things, the customs, those things that you're used to seeing. So back to the man thing and stepping up and stepping in, and the reaction is a little different because you're working off what you have seen, and communication is what typically works. So when that didn't work, I shut down. I completely shut down. I didn't know what else I needed to say or could say. But now I realize in my truth that I needed to not shut down. I needed to step up and speak up for him. I needed to speak up for him. But our communication was so terrible that I absolutely could not stand having to have a conversation with her about him, because it was her way or the highway. And again, no reflection on her. I'm not trying to talk bad about her. I don't need nobody trying to be mad at her or whatever the case is. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I did not know how to step up. I didn't know how to speak up. I didn't know how to show up. It wasn't about just being a man. It was about showing up to be his father. That's where I fell short. So in me buying the Legos and putting together Legos, I feel like that's my way of connecting with my son, and the energy that goes out into the world, that goes into the universe, that connects with him, that allows for him to feel my presence, that's just one of those things. So that's the thing that I do that keeps me connected to my son until we're back together. And I say this last part. I was hurt recently by a good friend of mine. And within reason, the masculine spoke of me prioritizing my life because he realized I hadn't seen him in a while. He knows what's been happening over the years, so he's not without that information. It just shocked me that he told me that I needed to get my priorities together and getting to my son as my priority. And I told him, bro, what are you talking about? What do you think I've been doing all this time? What do you think I've been doing? I've been working on me, therapy, healing, getting a house, all of the things that are necessary so so that if need be, it is obvious that I'm ready for my son. He is my priority. He always has been. So that kind of hurt because that masculinity came out. And I just was like, wow, I'm going to need to not talk to you for a little while, bro. Because if you don't see what I'm doing is the priority for him, then you missing it.